Good morning. I see we have a couple people signing on. Welcome. Good morning. I'm putting up some information for you guys for our MLS Quality Assurance Department. So you can reach out to them at any time if you ever have questions about Matrix. And then I'll also put up my information at the end of the session. So I'm just going to put it in the comments for you all to see. If you give me just a second while I do that. All right, I just put that in the comments, so hopefully everybody can see that. Typically, whenever the person who's going live comments, it makes it the very first comment, so it should be pretty easy for you guys to see that comment there. All righty, so let's see, it's 9:01, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Christina Schaefer. I'm one of the on-staff instructors for HAR. I do teach a lot of the classes that we offer at HAR, MLS classes obviously, but I also teach a variety of different technology classes, social media marketing, things like that. So if you ever have questions about any HAR class, you can feel free to reach out to me, or questions after today specifically about Matrix, you can definitely reach out to me with those as well. Like I said, I'll give you guys my contact information right before we sign off today. So I'm glad to see so many of you saying good morning, excited to attend. I'm excited to be here as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're actually talking about map tools and map searching. Last week, actually, Thursday, actually, if I'm being exact, they released a new map tool, a new polygon that's kind of a freehand polygon. So we're going to be talking about all of the map tools, but definitely want to let you guys know about that brand new feature that just came available that's really exciting and fun and gives you a lot more freedom when searching with the map. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, with map searching, I do get a lot of questions about map searching, simply because, you know, it is different than how it maybe was in a previous platform. If any of you used our previous platforms, everything was a little bit different, right? Those of you that are brand new, you know, all of it is new to you. So I get a lot of questions about, well, can I just go to the map and start drawing, or do I have to start with criteria? And the answer is yes, you can go to the map and just start drawing. You can also start with criteria and then add, you know, drawing on to that criteria. So I'm going to show you that both ways today so that you can see that both ways is possible, okay? So to start off, we'll need to go up to search. Now, when you hover your mouse over search, you will see that it has every property type listed there. We're going to use single family today, but again, every property type is listed here. So the map searching and these map tools that we're going to be looking at, it's not just available for single family, it's available for all of these property types that we see here. So, pardon me, so even though we're using single family today, anything that I do on the map can also be applied to these other property types as well. So you have a couple forms, two different forms that you can utilize when you're searching. The quick search form and the classic search form. I've talked about the differences between those in other live sessions and in other classes, but the gist of it is the quick search form is a little bit quicker, a little bit easier to find what you're looking for. The classic search form was actually made to look like Tempo, our old MLS platform, with the idea that it might make the transition easier for people that use that platform. Most of our members do seem to prefer the quick search form, so that's what I'm going to use today. So once I'm on the quick search form, we have all the different fields here with criteria. Now, we've talked about just simply criteria searching. Last week we talked about working with results. But today we're going to kind of focus on the map. So the question that, like I said, that I typically get is, well, what if I don't want to start with criteria? I want to just start with the map. Well, you can absolutely do that. And there's a couple of different ways that you can get to the map. if you see up here in the top right-hand corner, it says map, okay? It also says map search right here in location information. And down at the very bottom left-hand corner, it also says map, okay? So you can click on any one of these three buttons to access the map. They're going to take you to the exact same place. So it doesn't matter which one you click, they'll all take you to the same place. So again, I'm starting off right now with very, very minimal criteria. All I've really said as far as criteria is that I'm looking in single family, and I have some statuses checked here. Now, I can modify that. I'm just going to leave it as is for now, but that's all that I have in here at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the map button. And again, I can click on any of those three map buttons. They'll all take me to the same place. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on one now, and it's going to pull up the map for me. So once it pulls up the map, it actually says up here at the top, too many results to map. It went away before I could show it to you. It says too many results to map. There it is. Max is 5,000. Zoom in or narrow criteria. Okay. So again, right now, my criteria is only single family, active, option pending, pending, continue to show, and pending. So it's very general criteria. Obviously, there's more than 5,000 matches, so it's not going to show me more than 5,000 matches. Now, this map will show you up to 5,000 though. So you notice it says zoom in or narrow criteria. So if I go to zoom in, on the right-hand side of the screen, you see there's a plus sign and a minus sign. Plus zooms you in, minus zooms you out. So once I start zooming in, we see these little circles pop up on our screen with these different numbers, okay? And if you notice up here in the top left-hand corner of my map, it now says I have 3,471 of 5,000 plus. So that means I have 3,471 properties visible in my screen at the moment, okay? Sometimes people will ask me about these numbers, you know, what does this shape mean? Is that a polygon? Is that a geomarket area? What is that? All that really is telling me is within this general area here, I have 536 matches. Now, what's helpful about that is if you actually click on one of those numbers, if you click on this shape here, it zooms you into that specific area, and then it's going to refresh, give you new numbers, and you could go click somewhere and zoom into that specific area. So it's really helpful if you've ever used a map in the past and you go to zoom in on one specific spot but the map keeps taking you somewhere else. Well, this is really helpful. So now if I click there, it's just going to keep zooming me up to the point of where I see the actual properties here. So once I have less than 250 on my screen, and you see I have 212 at the moment, you'll see that I have green for active listings, orange for pending. You might see some different numbers with pins and things like that. That's just going to indicate that there's more than one property at that location. There is a legend kind of hidden in plain sight, the very bottom left-hand corner. So if you ever see a symbol on your map that you're not familiar with, click on that little legend. It'll pop up a box to explain what those numbers and different things are. So now at this point, if I hover my mouse over a property, I see the price, number of bedrooms and bathrooms. I can click on one to see the address, a photo, a clickable MLS number, and some additional information about that property as well. So it's great because it's giving me a lot of information just with a simple click. And if I want more detailed information, well, I could just go click on the MLS number, or I can go to my results grid and find it there, okay? So how do we map selected properties into, okay, I will get to that in a little bit, Elena, because that would be starting with the criteria already in and then going to the map. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. Alrighty, so at this point, I mean, I can zoom back out and get to this view, which I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit. And now I want to talk to you guys about some of these map tools, okay? So at this point, I haven't put in, you know, a zip code, I haven't put in an area number, geomarket, subdivision, nothing like that. I didn't put in any criteria really other than status. So I have properties all over the place right now, right? So maybe, you know, I'm not looking at a specific subdivision. I'm not looking at a specific zip code or geomarket area. There's just a certain point that I'd like to be able to, or a certain area that I'd like to be able to search. Well, we have these 4 shapes here that we can actually draw now. If you ever see something on the map or any icons really in Matrix in general, if you hover your mouse over them, Matrix will actually tell you what they are. So this first one here, When I hover my mouse over it, it says draw radius. The next one will say draw rectangle, draw polygon, and then freehand polygon, which is our newest one, okay? Alrighty, so I'm going to click on my radius tool. Now when I click on it, you'll notice it turns yellow. That lets me know that I've selected that tool. And now I can come over to my map, pick any point that I'd like, anywhere on this map, click to plot the center of my radius, and you'll notice that as I pull out my radius there, it's measuring miles for me. So if maybe I'm looking within a 2-mile radius of this one spot here, I can go find 2 miles, click, and then close that polygon. Now we see that I have 791 matches because this has become part of my criteria, okay? Nothing outside of this radius here is a part of my criteria. This is it, okay? So, excuse me, now I could go get another shape. Maybe I'm gonna do a rectangle and draw a rectangle right here, and now I'm searching within both of those shapes, okay? Same thing with the polygon. So you can have more than one shape on your map at any given time. Okay, so now I'm searching those 3 spots. Now with the polygon, this is the one that probably takes the most practice to use. Whenever you click on the polygon, you'll come over to the map, click to plot your first point, move, click, move, click, move, click. So anytime I want to turn, essentially, I would click, right? So move, click. So I can get a very specific area if they're, maybe my client's wanting to live within a specific boundaries. You know, they've said not south of this street or not north of this street or whatever the case is. I can draw that information on there. Also, after the fact, on any of these shapes, if you notice there is a gray dot on that blue line, what that means is from any point on these shapes, I can resize the actual shape. So if I drew this radius too large, maybe I wanted to do a 1-mile radius and I accidentally did a 2, well, I can go and resize that after the fact. So now I'm doing a 1-mile radius and it's a much smaller shape there, okay? And again, I can do this on any of my shapes. So even the polygon, if this was supposed to be actually over there, right, I can resize that and change that there as well. And I see Anita saying, or no, I'm sorry, not Anita. I didn't know you could use more than one tool at a time. Yeah, it's really great that you can have more than one at a time. Anita, I'll try to review a little bit. All I've really done so far is hit the search button and came to the map. So I came up here to search, did a quick single family, and then I just clicked on the map button to get here. That's all I've really done so far. Okay, so at this point, we do have red dots here. On the red dots, you have delete shape, include shape, exclude shape, okay? So delete shape is obvious. It would just delete this one shape. Include shape is what it's actually doing by default. It's including this as my criteria. Now, exclude shape is something new. That's something a little bit different, okay? So maybe, and I didn't do it again in this case, but maybe I had come in here to criteria and I had put in maybe a specific subdivision or zip code or whatever the case is. But then I came to the map and wanted to draw a specific area within that subdivision or zip code that my client doesn't want to live, right? So let's just pretend for a moment this is my only shape on here. And, you know, I had put in whatever zip code it may be. Well, then I just come, draw the area that they do not want to live in, hit exclude shape, and now it's excluding anything within those boundary lines that I created, okay? Again, the default is to include, but sometimes maybe exclude is more helpful than include, or maybe, you know, that's what you're needing to do in that particular case. So that's a great option. Something also new that we didn't have before, maybe I drew a particular shape, but there's a specific area within that shape that my client doesn't want to live, right? Well, this system will actually let me draw a shape within a shape as well. So I can come over here to this shape, draw another shape with inside of it, and exclude just that little part of the shape. Okay, so if you know you have a big general area that you're searching in that you drew, but then there's a little part of it that you want to exclude, well, this is how you would do it. Yeah, I love this exclude option as well. I think it's really helpful, you know, in those situations when you when you do need to exclude something. So yeah, so that is the exclude option, okay? Now, lastly, brand new tool, well, not lastly, but lastly for this little part at least, the brand new tool that we have is the freehand polygon. So we went over the radius, the rectangle, the polygon. Now we have the freehand polygon. This was just released to us on Thursday. So it's brand new. But what this allows me to do, if I click my freehand polygon, I can come over to the map, click, hold, and drag, and I can just draw like that. So just a simple click, hold, and drag, not like with the polygon right now where I have to click each time I want to turn. It's just a click, hold, and drag, and it's drawing a shape there, okay? So really neat new option that we have. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to zoom in there. Neat new option that we have with the freehand polygon, which sometimes might be easier for you to use. Maybe you find the standard polygon easier. Whatever works for you is what's best. These are just, you know, all these different options you have now. So with the radius, the rectangle, you know, the polygon, and the freehand, you have a lot of options as far as drawing on this map is concerned, okay? And again, at this point, I haven't really put in any criteria. I just simply came to the map and said, these are the areas that I'm wanting to search, okay? Alrighty, now to delete these shapes, if I come to the red dot here, we see delete shape, include shape, exclude shape. So I can delete one at a time, or if I'm wanting to delete all the shapes, because I have several shapes on here at this point, the next little icon we see, that is a broom. Some people have said it looks like a paintbrush or a flashlight. That is actually a broom. And when I hover my mouse over it, it says clear all shapes. So if I click that there, now all the shapes are gone and I'm back to no location criteria, okay? All right, so the next icon we see, it's when I hover my mouse over it, it says layers. It's right there to the right of the broom. It looks like blue stacked up sheets of paper there. Now layers, you have a lot of different options on layers as well. With layers, the first thing we see is boundaries. Down here we have parcel characteristics. Oops. We also have trends and points of interest, okay? So with boundaries, let's just start with boundaries here. Let me get a little more zoomed in. So with boundaries, you can see things like zip code boundary lines. And actually, let me zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. So we see zip code boundary lines there. Or I can see city lines, county lines, school district boundary lines. This one we did not have in our old platform, flood zones. Now, common questions I get about flood zones. First question I get is, well, why can't I click it? Because if you notice, I'm trying to click it right now and it's telling me no. Well, if you notice, flood zones is red, and up here in red it says zoom in, okay? So if I just zoom in, now I'll be able to click on flood zones, okay? So that's usually the first question I get about it, is why can't I click it? And it's typically the answer is you need to zoom in, okay? Now the next question I get is, well, how accurate is this data? This is the most up-to-date FEMA map currently in existence. We all know that that map is going to be changing. I don't know when that's going to be happening. I don't think really many people know when that's going to be happening yet, but we know it's something that's coming. So as of right now, this is the most up-to-date FEMA map currently in existence. And it's very helpful to be able to see the data that's on here. The orange is out of flood hazard area. The light purple is 100-year floodplain. Dark purple is 100-year floodway. 500-year floodplain is the yellow. So it's very easy to tell where these properties fall in these flood zones here. So that's a helpful one there as well. MLS area number. Okay, these are the area numbers that were very commonly used in the past. And then you also have geomarket area, which I've noticed more and more people are starting to use. Geomarket area is more like neighborhoods than subdivisions. For example, you have you know, the Galleria area, right? Not necessarily a subdivision, but the area we all commonly know as the Galleria area. Or I have Memorial Villages or the Energy Corridor, right? These aren't necessarily subdivisions or, you know, even zip codes or anything like area numbers, definitely not. But they're a little more specific than the area numbers are. So if you're looking for a buyer, the geomarket area is a very helpful way to search. This isn't just inside the loop, by the way, or inside the beltway. These geomarket areas go all the way south down to Galveston. They even divide up Galveston into helpful options. They've even expanded out more to different counties down here as well. Let's see what we have. We have Freeport, Brazoria. So we have Brazoria County in here now. That's actually a new addition. Going up north, I think it goes all the way to about Lufkin, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Lufkin goes out west and east quite a ways as well. So this is a helpful option. Again, when you're searching for a buyer, they're different for all different parts of town. So, you know, even if, let's say I'm in Sugar Land, well, we have Sugar Land North, East, West, South. So this is a helpful tool. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm not actually searching it. Right here, I'm just kind of visualizing, right? If I wanted to actually search, let's say Sugar Land West, well, then I would go back to criteria, go to geomarket area section, and type in Sugar Land West, right? So that would be how I'd actually search it. This is just on the map. This is just here to visualize it. Glenda asked, is geomarket area auto-populated based on the address the agent enters? Great question, Glenda. So when a listing agent lists their property, you're now required to actually map that property. And based on where the map or where the property is pinpointed on the map, the system automatically assigns it an area number, a geomarket area, and schools that it's zoned to, okay? So as long as the listing agent has listed the map appropriately, then it's auto-populated from there. So, you know, there's no real room for error as far as an agent maybe that has a property, I don't know, outside of the Heights and is trying to say it's in the Heights, for example. So yes, it's auto-assigned based on the map location. Okay, so that's geomarket area. Geo elementary, middle, and high. Again, these are going to show us the boundary lines for those schools as well. The school data is maintained in-house. We have HAR staff that, you know, keeps this information updated regularly. They're already starting to get ready for next year at this point. So once the school boards release their new data, we update it in here as well. MUDs, this is another helpful one. Let me get to an area where there's some MUDs. So MUDs, it will actually outline the MUD district. And if I zoom in, it's going to show me, looks like I still have flood zones. It will actually show me what MUD district it is as well. So I see Palmer Plantation MUD 1, Palmer Plantation MUD 2. So I can see the MUD districts there as well. Same thing with historic districts and key map. It just outlines those boundary lines there for you as well. Parcel characteristics. Now this one you do have to pretty much get to a street view to see, but parcel characteristics is going to give you some helpful tax data. So I'm getting to pretty much a street view so you guys can see this, but on parcel characteristics I can see things like lot area. APN is just a tax ID number, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, building square feet, owner names, and then property address. Okay, so some really helpful tax data there that's auto-populating through here as well. On trends, just to show you guys a couple here, this is going to kind of color code some data for you. So median sale price, on median sale price, it'll kind of color code different things there for you. So I see this green is 300 to 400,000. The lighter blue is 100 to 200. The darker blue is 200 to 200 to 300. So it's just kind of color coding some information there. You could also see things like percentage of properties in foreclosure. It'll give you percentages there. You know, and again, it color codes them so you can kind of see what the data is on that. Points of interest. This one I need to zoom in a little bit more to see as well, but on points of interest, you can see things like schools, restaurants, shopping, healthcare facilities. So it actually pops up these little icons on the map, and then I can actually click on it to see, for example, what school is that. Okay. One thing about the points of interest that's new as well, when you set up an auto email, your client starts getting their client portal. On their client portal, they can actually see points of interest as well. So they can say, oh, Christina sent me some new properties. Let me go see where the schools are in comparison, or let me see where the shopping is, restaurants are, things like that. Okay. This little scope here is going to recenter you back to your defaulted view. Actually, this little gear over here, you can actually set a default view. If you notice, this is my default view. It's kind of zoomed around Beltway 8, just giving me a general Houston overview, but you could zoom in. Maybe if I specialize or I mainly work this area over here, I could move the map to that area, click that little gear, and set that as my default view. Okay. Last map tool here before we get into putting in criteria and adding the map tools is jump to address. Okay, oh, actually I see that there's another question. Are you able to print the parcel map? There's not a real easy way to print the map. The easiest way that I've really found is to just screenshot it. Now there is, when you go to print in the print screen, once you have some properties selected, there is a printable map. There is one of the options is printable map. But like if you were wanting the parcel view, or if I wanted to print the flood zones or the geomarket area or something like that, the easiest way to do that would be to screenshot it. And I also see Adam asked, I may be jumping ahead here, is there a way to have results on the map numbered in ordinance with a number on the results tab? No, there isn't really. It's going to kind of, actually I don't believe so. No, it's not going to really number them that way. I know what you're talking about. That was an option that we used to have, but no, it does not map them. It doesn't number them that way. As you can see, it's not even numbered at all. So no, it doesn't number them that way. Now, if you're wanting to do that for like driving directions or something like that, when you click the directions button, that does number them in accordance with the order that you pick, but on the map, it doesn't do that. Is there a setting we have to activate for commenting? No, I don't believe so. I see a lot of people commenting, so you guys should all have the option to do that. How do you screenshot? Every computer is a little bit different. On my computer, I have an app that's called Snip. A lot of computers have snipping tools. I would just Google for your specific computer, how do you screenshot? Not having the numbers makes it difficult. You know, it does have them numbered on the results. And like I said, if you're wanting it for a directions point of view, then it does number them in the directions. But yeah, it is a change. And I see Adam said, yeah, it used to be an option. It is a change from what we had before, but I definitely think we've gained a lot of really great tools. So if that's one thing, then, you know, it's different and it's tough, but you know, we have other options now with directions and things like that. Okay, so jump to address. This is a helpful one as well. So I can type in any address here, whether it be residential or business address, and it will show me where that property or where that location is on the map. So if, for example, my client said, you know, I have to live within 5 miles of where I work or 10 miles of where I work, well, I can put in any address, and I'm just going to put in HAR's address here, hit enter, and it's going to put a little marker where that spot is, okay? So that's 3693 Southwest Freeway. Now, if my client said I need a property that's within 5 miles of where I work, well, what I could do at this point is just grab my little radius tool up here and draw a 5-mile radius around HAR. Okay, and now I have 2,333 matches. So at this point, let's just say that was my starting off point. This is where we need to be, within 5 miles of this location. So now I could say, okay, we're gonna have a lot of options. Let's go to criteria. What's your price range, right? And then I can start putting in, okay, they said between 5 and 600,000 is their range. Now in the bottom left-hand corner, I have 253 matches, right? I could go back to the map to kind of see where they are. I could just put in more criteria. They need at least 4 beds or whatever the case is. So you can use the map back and forth with the criteria, okay? Anything you put in criteria is going to affect your results. Anything you draw on the map is also going to affect your results as well, okay? So let me delete that. Now, I have nothing on the map. The other way that you can do this, because, and again, I started with, let me just go to the map and draw. The other way you can do this is you can incorporate the map after the fact, okay? So let's say my client gave me their criteria, and I'm just going to put in some criteria here so you guys can see this. Okay, and then I want to go to the map, okay? So they want to be in League City, but maybe they want to be on a certain side of the freeway, right? So this was the criteria, or excuse me, these were the results I got based on what I put in. And I used, if you guys notice, I used GeoMarket area. So it's only found properties within the League City GeoMarket area. So if you guys want to be able to visualize it, there it is. That's the GeoMarket area for League City. So it only found stuff within that boundary. So if at this point my client wants to be on the east side of the freeway or the west side of the freeway or whatever the case is, I can actually just grab my polygon there, or any tool really, whichever one you find easiest, and I can draw the area that I want to include. And again, it doesn't even really have to match the boundary lines for League City GeoMarket area because it already knows that's the criteria, but now I've also said it needs to be within this area as well, okay? And I see I kind of messed up there. There's a teeny little bit of Kemah that I didn't include, so I could even just go over to the water there to make sure I'm including everything, okay? So again, now that I've done that, I have 66 matches. If I wanted to go back and say, okay, so they also said they need a private pool, or they also need such and such, I can add that criteria in. Or if this is it, I want to get to my results now, then I could just go to my results grid and view everything from there. Can you identify more than one GeoMarket area at a time? You absolutely can. That would be back here in the criteria section. You can actually click on this little information box there and select multiple GeoMarket areas, or you can also just type them in, separating them with a comma. So if they want to be in the Clear Lake area or the GeoMarket area, I can put more than one in there. There's not a way to get the map on the same page. I know that's something we had in a previous platform. That is something we've requested and hopefully something we might see in the future. But at this point, we do just have to kind of toggle back and forth between the map. Luckily, they make it very easy to do and it's very quick in response. But no, I can't have the map and the criteria on the same screen. Okay, so from there, once I've got my criteria in, and we covered this last week, but once I've got my criteria in, I can see my results on the results grid. Last week we talked about all these options down here on your button bar, so hopefully you guys all found that helpful. If you weren't able to attend for that, in the videos section of our Facebook page, you'll see a recording of that. You can also go to HAR's YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/HARTV, to see a recording of it there as well. So we do have that backed up for you guys. Again, just go to the video section of our Facebook page where you already are, and you'll see last week's recording there. Let me just double check that I got everybody's questions. I'm glad to see that you guys are liking this. Yeah, there's some really great map tools that we gained with Matrix. Some really fun stuff in here that definitely can help, you know, that can help you in a lot of different ways. So now you guys know where all these tools are, you know how to use these tools. So hopefully that will help you in the future. Okay, question for future reply. When we map properties from a list of listings that we've created, the MLS numbers are not available to be highlighted from the list, only by clicking each listing. The reason we... Trish, can you email me that? I saw it's a question for future. Actually, you know what? I can look up your email address and get back with you on that. So don't worry about it. I'll reach out to you individually, Trish. Claudia asked if I want to change the criteria. Yeah, that would just be the same process. I would go to criteria, and let's say in this case I'm upping it 400 to 500,000, right? So I could just very easily change the criteria there. All right, I'm going to put my email address back up on the screen for you. It's just Christina with no H at har.com. If you need to reach out to me individually, you're welcome to do so. I also put the MLS quality assurance information in the comments. It should be the first comment you guys see there. So if you need to reach out to them, you can also do that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all found this session valuable. If you have suggestions for future live sessions, you're welcome to send those my way. Next week we will be covering adding a listing, adding or editing a listing. So if you need assistance with that, you know, sign on next Monday at 9 a.m. and we'll be talking about add and edit. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you so much for joining.